Welcome to Art with Mr. Mason. Hello, my friends. I hope you're all doing well. Mr. Mason here, coming to you once again from my office and art studio at home. So today's project is called LIGHTBULB. And well, you guessed it, we're going to be drawing a light bulb. But we're going to put something inside of it. Before you start this project, you want to go to the Google Classroom and download and print out this template of our light bulb. We're going to be using this as part of our project. With that said, if you're ready, let's go. All right, these are the supplies you'll need. I've got a piece of paper. This is cardstock, so it's a little heavier. You could use regular printer paper for this one. This is 8.5 by 11. I got a pencil, freshly sharpened. You'll also need your Sharpies, the fine point, that's our thicker one, and our extra fine point, that's our thin Sharpie. And you will also need to go to the Google Classroom and pick up and print out this light bulb template. We'll use this for a quick and easy transfer. We're going to be drawing inside. If you wanted to, you could print this out and draw directly into this. But I want to go ahead and do a transfer of this. All right, so if we're ready, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that printout and I'm going to flip it over. And we've done this kind of transfer before. I've got a graphite pencil. You could use your regular pencil for this. I'm going to use this because it'll show up better on camera. So I'm just going to take and run my pencil sort of at an angle so I get a nice thick layer of pencil graphite here. And I can kind of see through my paper, so I'm just putting this lead down where I see the line. I don't need to go over the whole thing because I won't be tracing in here. All right, there we go. So I got a nice layer of graphite pencil on that, so I don't need that anymore. I'm going to put that to one side. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. So this is my cardstock. This is my drawing paper. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to lay this down right on top. So the papers are the same size, so they match up really nice. So what you could do is you could take a little piece of tape and tape this down so it doesn't shift. But because this is a pretty easy shape to draw, I'm just going to go ahead and hold it down. Now you could use your pencil to trace and press. What I like to use like a regular ballpoint pen. It's got a nice point on it and it'll transfer that sketch really easy. All right, so let's line it up. So I'm going to use my left hand to hold this paper so it doesn't shift. And then I'm just going to draw and trace around this light bulb design all the way around. So we've done these kinds of transfers before, so this is nothing new. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace all of this. I'm not going to worry about all the little details. I just want all the shapes. All right, so before I peel my paper up, I want to flip it over and peel up a little bit. So now we can see that very lightly we have our light bulb has been transferred. All right, so that's good. I like it. I'm going to go ahead. I don't need this anymore. Don't need my ballpoint pen. So now I have my light bulb shape transferred down. So what I want to do is I'm going to take my Sharpie now. This is my fine point. This is that thicker Sharpie point. I'm going to go ahead and trace that. I'm going to take my time nice and smooth like this. Just go ahead and trace that pencil line. And then if you need to, you can move your paper. All right. So I've got these are the part of where it screws right into the light socket. There we go. All right, so that's pretty good. So now I've just got that outlined. So that's that Sharpie. So I'm going to go ahead and get my fine point Sharpie. That's my skinnier Sharpie. And I just want to add some little details here. Don't worry about anything in here. We're going to deal with that later. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some little design here. And this will kind of make those little, the screw part of my light bulb, give it a little bit of design, right? So I'm going to do these little lines here. Just like this. There we go. And then the bottom part, we'll do lines that kind of go down this way. And they kind of fan out as they go around. And there we go. So that just adds a little bit of fun design. And I can go in if I want and add some extra blacks here and there, just to kind of strengthen it a little bit and add a little more dimension. So if I add a little bit of extra shadow here on some of these, you know, I get a little bit of extra. There we go. All right, that's pretty good. All right, so I've got my light bulb, I've got the bottom base in there and everything, and I think we're ready to go. So I add a little extra black there. All right, so there we go. All right, so we're done with our Sharpies and everything. So what I want to do is on the inside of the light bulb is I want to make it look a little different than the Sharpie, which is that sort of heavy, thicker black. Is I want to do all of the inside of the light bulb with my pencil and do a little shading and do some smudging with my fingers. So inside this light bulb, you can draw anything you want. I'm going to go ahead and do some butterflies. So I'm going to put a couple of butterflies in here. I'm going to put a big one and maybe a couple of little medium-sized ones. So I want it a little kind of off to the side. So let's go ahead and let's draw. This will be like the body of my butterfly. Just like that. Pretty simple. And let's give him some wings. Kind of goes up. Now you can make up the shape of your butterfly. You know, if you want to do, you know, if you have a specific idea for your butterfly, you can do that. I'm going to kind of make up my own. Just like this. And we'll give him one of these little fancy tails. There we go. All right. Nice little butterfly. Give him some antenna. There we are. All right, so that's the outline of one. Let's do a kind of a small one over here. Same kind of butterfly, maybe a little different, but we want to, you know, just a little smaller one. So let's go ahead and give him a wing here. So he's going to be just a little smaller, slightly different shape, right? And then maybe let's do one that's right in here. Maybe that's like a little medium-sized one. Maybe his wings are just a little different shapes. All right. So there's a sort of the outline of our really cool looking butterflies. So now let's go back to this big one and let's start adding some detail. Again, I want to keep the Sharpie on the outside and everything on the inside will be just my pencil. So I'm just going to go in now and start adding some detail here. So I want the wings to have maybe sort of a black, kind of a black outline. I'll include some butterfly pictures in the Google Classroom if you want to use those for reference. Otherwise, you can do what I'm doing and just kind of making it up as you go along. I've painted a lot of butterflies over the years, so making one up is kind of an easy thing. All right, So there's some cool design. Now let's go ahead, now we can start adding some extra detail. So I want to go in and kind of blacken this in. So I'm just using my pencil for this. And if you need to, you can rotate your paper. I always, as I say, I always try and keep it oriented to the camera so you guys can see really well. But if you need to rotate to get into a spot, go for it. All right, so now we got that sort of black outline. Let's go ahead and do a little bit here, get the body going. Now if I need to, I can shift the position of my pencil and I can use the side of it to fill in a bigger area, just like this. Now I want to maybe do a little gray tone, so I've got that body in there, and if I take my finger, kind of smudge it around just a little bit, I get a little gray area. So then I can go back in now with my pencil and kind of play with some of these designs here. So where all these little sections connect, I'm rounding all the corners, right? So if everywhere where it connects, I round the corners. So it kind of, so there, see how all those little corners are rounded, right? So I get these nice shapes. And then I go in and just kind of round those corners where they all meet. It just kind of helps to kind of soften the design a little bit. I'm going to add like a little eye up here. And remember, butterflies, their wings are symmetrical. So whatever you do on one side, you want to do it on the other. All right, so let's continue on. So let's keep this idea that the outside edges of the wings are dark. So this is like a smaller area, so I'll use just the regular tip of my pencil to do that. And again, doing all of this work with pencil on the inside, keeping that Sharpie on the outside. It'll give us a nice little contrast in textures. Again, I'm going to do all those little rounded corners where all those areas meet. All those lines intersect. So we'll do round edges, round off those corners. And then let's do a little smudge here on these lower wings. So we'll bring some of that, just like that. So we're going to leave this sort of the outside edges kind of white. So now we get that kind of neat kind of smudge. So I'm going to do a little line work here, just give it a little extra detail. So I'm just kind of lightly doing some radiating lines that kind of radiate from the body out. And there we go. So there's our bigger butterfly. Now we could do the same thing for the smaller ones. So if you want, I mean, just go ahead and just start doing these, and maybe just speed it up a little bit so you guys get the idea. Okay, so we've got our three little butterflies inside there. They're all sort of very similar, but each one is a little bit of a different design. I just think personally it makes it a little more interesting than having them all be the same. All right, so we've got our Sharpie outline, and now we've got our butterflies inside, but that just kind of looks like they're just kind of stuck in there. Let's do a little texturing on the light bulb to kind of make it look a little more like it's glass. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use my pencil again, and I'm going to hold it in the palm of my hand like this. And I'm going to use the edge to kind of do a little shadowing and shading and shaping of this light bulb. And I want to do it very lightly. But what I want to do is I want to leave a little white halo around. So I'm just going to kind of lightly go around this edge. Just like this. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a white halo around the edge. Now this is just a, kind of a trick when you're doing anything that's like glass. If you leave a little edge, it's going to make it look like it's kind of shiny. Right? There we go. So we've got some on this side. Let's do a little bit on this side. And it's okay if that pencil crosses over into my butterflies, because the butterflies are on inside. Right? So if I kind of go around, kind of connect these up just a little bit. So if I want to do a little heavier on the shadow on this side, I can. All right, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. So if I do maybe a little bit here. There we are. Very nice. All right, so one other little trick is I've got my eraser on there. So if I take a little bit of the eraser and kind of just lightly take off some of that butterfly, just a little bit here and there, like, right around in here. So if I just kind of lightly erase, very lightly, I put a little bit of a shine there in the on the glass. So if I go here and just lightly take out some of that pencil, I still want to be able to see it, but then that gives me a little bit of a shine. Right? So if you could kind of look at it closer up. So we've got this kind of shine here and a little shine here. Right? And that just helps sell the fact that these little butterflies are inside of a glass object. And there we go. There are our butterflies in a light bulb. There we go. So if you want to, you can sign this. I'm going to sign, usually I sign down here in the corner. I'm going to sign right along this edge here. Kind of small. There we go. All right. And there we are. Light bulb. All right. Well, I hope you had fun with this project. I really liked how my light bulb came out and the butterflies that I added into it. I hope you learned a little bit about, working with a pencil and doing some shading and texturing and the contrast between a pencil drawing and the Sharpie. As always, have fun, enjoy, and keep arting.